Hi creatives, welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Creative Light. Thank you so much to all my returning subscribers for watching my videos, for liking my videos and leaving nice comments. I really appreciate you all. If today is your first time of stopping by, you are welcomed. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful, stylish choker maxi dress with gathered backs waistline. This dress is quite easy to make. A total beginner can make this dress. This dress is so beautiful. You can rock it to any party of your choice, right? If this is something you are interested in, keep on watching. I'll advise you to watch to the end of this video so that you can have a better understanding of this dress. I've gone ahead to rule 1 inch as the starting line. Then I marked half of my shoulder measurement. Whatsoever your shoulder measurement is, you divide it by 2 and mark it. Then for the neck width, I use 2.5. You can use 3 inches, but don't make it too wide, right? On that shoulder point, I came down by 1 for the shoulder slope. Then for the neck depth, I use 6.5. If you want it deeper, you can go 7, 8, or 9, depending on how you want it. Then I connected the slope to the neck width. Then see the way I kept my curve. The V is a slanted V, it's not a sharp V, right? On that shoulder slope, you divide your bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5 to it. That will be your chest line. Then you connect it, right? You divide your bust measurement by 6, then you add 1.5 to it. That will serve as your chest line. I hope you understand me. You bring down the shoulder measurement to the chest measurement, right? So you mark it. Then you connect the shoulder to the chest. The next measurement I took was my waist measurement, shoulder to waist. My shoulder to waist is 16.5. I marked it, then ruled across. Then I labeled it. The next measurement is shoulder to hips. My shoulder to hips is 26 inches. So whatsoever your shoulder to hips is, you put it. Then rule across. Label it. So on that hip line, you divide your hip measurement by 4. Whatsoever your hip measurement is, you divide it by 4 and mark it. You divide your waist measurement by 4 and also mark it, right? Then for the chest line, you divide your bust measurement by 4. That is quarter of your bust, quarter of your waist, and quarter of your hip, right? Then you connect the waist to the hip. See the way I placed my curve. I'll connect the hips to the waist. Then I change the direction. Then I connected the waist to the chest line, right? For this particular pattern, I didn't include sewing allowance because it's a stretchy fabric. From the waist side, you go down by 2.5. Then for the center front, you go down by 5 inches, right? Then you use your curve and connect it. You connect the 5 inches to the 2 inches, right? So basically, this is the shape of the bodies, right? Then to get the midpoint of the armhole, you divide the straight line into 2 and mark your midpoint On the midpoint, you go in by 0.5, that's half an inch. Then you connect the shoulder slope to the midpoint and the chest line. See the way I kept the curve. You connect the 3 points, right? So our pattern is ready. I went ahead to add my sewing allowance. I added half inch for the joining allowance to the skirt part, then 1 cm for the armhole, the shoulder and the neckline, right? If you have watched this video up to this point and you find it interesting, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment. I've gone ahead to mark 1 inch zip allowance and 1 inch the top line. Then the shoulder point, you do half of your shoulder measurement. You go down by 1 inch for the shoulder sloping. The neck width, you use 2.5, right? Then for the neck depth, you use half inch because it's a high neck, right? So you connect the shoulder slope to the neck width and also connect the neckline. For the zip place, you make that place to be straight. The zip side is not going to be curved, right? So you put the shoulder measurement on the chest line, half of the shoulder measurement on the chest line. Then you connect it. Label it chest, waist. So the measurements I use for the front, the chest, the waist, and the hip is what I used for the back, right? So on that chest line, you do quarter of your bust measurement and mark it. Then you get the midpoint of the armhole. On that midpoint area, you go in by half inch. Then you connect the chest to the midpoint and the armhole, and sorry, the shoulder slope. On that waist point, to avoid bulging at the back, to shape the waist, you go in by 0.75. You can do half inch or 1 inch, right? Then from that 0.75, you mark quarter of your waist measurement. On the hip line, you mark quarter of your hip measurement. Then you connect the hip to the waist. Also the waist to the chest. Then you connect that waist shaping, that 0.5 to the chest line. Then on the hip line, you go up by 2 inches rather. Then you connect the waist to that 2 inches mark, right? Then you include your 1 inch zip allowance. You connect that waist to the chest. Already the 1 inch zip allowance is included. So you just connect it. Then you label zip, right? So remember, for the front, we came down by 2.5 inches, right, by the side. So I actually made a mistake. I did 5 inches by that side back, and I did 2.5 at that center back, which is not correct. The correct measurement is 2.5 for the side back and 5 inches for the center back, please. Well, I actually corrected it in this video. You see it. I marked half inch sewing allowance. Then I connected it. Like I said, I didn't add sewing allowance to the side, just the armhole, the shoulder and neck. For the armhole, I use 1 cm. For the shoulder, I use 1 cm also. For the neckline, I use 1 cm. Then I connected the points. I connected the shoulder, then the neckline. So the back and front pattern is ready. The next thing to do is to cut it out. Like I said, I made a mistake at this point. The side is supposed to be 2.5 and the center back is supposed to be 5 inches. So from that waist point, you go down by 2.5 on the side, and the center back, you go down by 5 inches. I'm using a red pen so that you can see it right. The next thing to do is to connect it. See the way I placed my curve? You place yours this way, then you connect the 2 points. Then you add ½ inch joining allowance to the skirt part. Then connect it. So the back pattern now has been corrected. Next thing to do is to cut out. So this is the back and this is the front. The front and the back sides are aligning now. They are the same. Right? So I went ahead to cut my fabric. I've cut my fabric, the front and the back. What I'm cutting here is the facing for the front. I place a piece of fabric on fold. Then I place the front piece on top of the folded fabric. I cut the neckline. Then the width of the facing, I use about 2 inches. For this dress, it's only the front that is going to have facing, no facing for the back. So this is the front piece. I place the facing, right side facing each other. Then I'll stitch it, then turn it inside. After turning the neckline, I'll place the back piece on top of the front, right side facing each other. Then I'll stitch on 1 cm sewing allowance. So I've gone ahead to stitch the neckline and the shoulder. Then I'll measure the neck from the back. See the way I'm measuring it from the back. You just measure the roundness of the neck. Whatsoever the measurement is, you use it to cut a band. The width of the band is 3 inches by the roundness of your neck. Then you fold the fabric and stitch on ½ inch sewing allowance. After sewing it, you iron it. You make sure the seam is at the center. Then you place the band from the back on the main fabric and stitch on it very tiny. See the way I'm placing the band? From that point, that front part, you're not going to sew any place on that front part, just the back. See how I stitch it? I place the fabric on it, then I stitch it very tiny. Then for the side, I use 0.625 as my sewing allowance. Remember, I didn't include any extra sewing allowance. The sides of the bodies. Then the next thing to do is to get the measurement of the down part of the bodies. That measurement is what you're going to use to draw your gathers, to get the measurement for the gathers. For the ankara part, I use 3 yards plus about 10 inches extra, right? So I'm just going to make gathers on it and attach it to the bodies. So I've attached the gathers to the bodies. Please ignore the blue thread you're seeing there. I was trying to pull my black threads and they were cutting, so I had to use that blue thread. I've also gone ahead to hem the down part of the ankara part. The next thing I'm going to do, from that down part, I'm just going to sew my 1 inch sewing allowance and get very close to the waist point, right? Then I also add my zip to the bodies. So I've added my zip to it and stitch the center back, right? I also went ahead to attach a basic sleeve to it. So our dress is ready. Can you see how I attach the band? You're just going to place it on top of the neck and just stitch very tiny on it. Can you see? If you don't understand this part, I would advise you to watch this video again so that you can understand, right? So that's basically it. Our dress is ready. If you found this video useful, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment. If you have any question, ask your question and I'll gladly respond to your question. Also, if you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. Don't forget to share your recreations with me. If you know you have made any outfits with my tutorials here on YouTube, please go ahead and share your pictures, your videos with me on TikTok at d.creative.light, on Instagram at thecreativelight001, on Facebook at the Creative Light. All right, see you in my next one. Bye for now.